Hello, Lalitha. Thank you so much for joining us at the Storytelling by and for Adult series on Monday, December 5th, 2022. Please introduce yourself fully and tell us about your work, and please tell us a story.
Hello, Eric, and hello, everybody. My bandwidth, I don't know, my bandwidth is low. Are you able to hear me and see me?
Yes, you're coming in just fine.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. And I am from Hyderabad. My journey as a storyteller is 2 years old. I've just started in 2020. I've done my diploma. I've learned storytelling from Geeta Ramanujam ma'am. And I'm loving this part or this phase of my life, listening to stories and telling stories. And today I have a story for all of you from Ramayana. I hope friends who've joined us from outside India are also familiar with Ramayana. This is a small story, a part of Ramayana. And so I'll begin. The sun was just setting in the kingdom of Ayodhya. All the people, children, men, women, young, old, everybody were looking sad. They were looking at the palace. The palace looked dark and somber. She was walking in the corridors, angry, despondent, and helpless. All she wanted to do was go into her chambers and cry her heart out. But she was not raised that way. She was the daughter of King Kushaladwaja and Queen Chandrabhaga, Princess of Sankasya, wife of Bharata. Mandavi, which means lotus bloom. So, like always, before retiring for the day, she went to check on her mothers-in-law. She went to Queen Kausalya Devi's chamber, her mother-in-law, and she saw that Kausalya Devi was sleeping on her bed and just staring at the ceiling. Mata Sumitra was also with her in a very pensive mood. She walked ahead. She reached Mata Kaikeyi's room when she heard a whimper. Usually she would have gone inside, sat with her, spoken to her and consoled her, but not that day. She just walked ahead. She reached her sister Shrutakirti's chambers. She was about to knock and open the door, but she heard her sister speaking. She heard her sister speaking to her husband Shatrugna. It seemed as if she was comforting her husband. Her sister, the little sister, became so responsible. She walked ahead. She went close to Urmila's chambers. Urmila was sleeping. She slept for 14 years. Sometimes, in moments of despair, Mandavi envied her sister Urmila. Because though she was away from her husband Lakshmana, she did not miss his presence because she was sleeping. But what if? She just closed her ears. She didn't want that thought which was lurking in her mind that day to come back again. She just ran into her chambers and she pushed open the doors and she went in and she just looked at those walls. She spent 14 long years inside in that room between those walls. She went in and sat down and Her thoughts went back to the day her father-in-law passed away, King Dasharatha. Bharata, Shatrughna, Shrutakirti and Mandavi were asked to rush back to Ayodhya. Bharata, when he came and he saw his father lying lifeless, he was heartbroken. He fell onto the ground and he was crying. Mandavi could not see him that way. But still, she looked for her sister. She looked for her brother-in-law, Rama. They were not there anywhere. She found it strange. Mata Kaikeyi, who was there standing, she came closer to Bharata. She put her hand on his head and, as if comforting him, consoling him, she said, Uttishtottishta kim dese Rajan. As she said Rajan, Bharata, who was lying down crying, just got up and said, Mata, why are you calling me Rajan? I am not Rajan. I am Rama is the Rajan. I'm Rama's brother. Why are you calling me Rajan? Where is brother Rama? Then he looked around for his brother. He did not find him. That's when Kaikeyi told him about her boons and how Rama, Sita and Lakshmana went to the forest to fulfill her wishes. Bharata could not believe his ears. He did not know or understand that his mother could be so evil and she could do this. He just could not take it. He closed his ears as if he didn't want to hear anymore. He said, Kulasyastam ubhavaya kalaratri vivagata. Oh mother, you are the darkest spot in our family. How could you think that I will become the king when my brother Rama is supposed to take the kingdom? He is supposed to rule. And he went to the forest to get back his brother Rama and his sister-in-law Sita along with his other brother Lakshmana. But Rama refused to come. And so he took his slippers, his padukas, Rama's padukas, and he put them on his head and he said, Brother Rama, I will never rule the kingdom. I will just take care of the kingdom for you. And after 14 years, if you do not come back, I will self-immolate myself. And he took the oath. Mandavi, sitting in that couch in her chambers, was thinking about that. Today, the 14th year period ended. She knew what would happen tomorrow. The whole of kingdom of Ayodhya, everybody knew what would happen tomorrow if Rama doesn't return. The fire was already lit. As she sat there, her thoughts went back again 14 years. Bharata put the padukas on his head and came, but he did not enter Ayodhya. He stayed back in Nandigram, outside Ayodhya. He took care of the kingdom, but he did not enter. And Mandavi took care of the palace, the queens, and everything with the help of her sister Shrutakirti. When she got married, she knew that Rama will become the king. She knew that Sita will become the queen. She never wanted to become the queen. And she knew she would never become. That was acceptable. But what was not acceptable was what followed. Bharata got so tangled in his thoughts, in his mother's greed, in his brother's acceptance of her greed and his helplessness. He always kept thinking of what could have been. And he always thought about his brother Rama. He was drowned in guilt. He did not speak to his mother. And he actually wore that guilt on as a badge. He refused to forget. He refused to forgive. And Mandavi paid the price for that. She came back every night to a lonely chamber. And as she sat there thinking about everything, a maid rushed in to tell her, to give her the news that Rama was returning. Hanuman had come to give the news of Rama's return. The whole of Ayodhya was decked up. Everybody was happy that their Rama was coming. They were hailing him, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Sita, Jai Lakshmana. And it was a beautiful reunion of the brothers. They hugged each other and there were tears of joy and love for each other. Mandavi was standing behind her, behind the queens, her mothers-in-law. Bharata, who just looked at her, spoke to her through his eyes, as if he was asking her how she has been. She replied through her eyes without uttering a word. She said, "Between overpowering guilt and brotherly love, you abandoned me. Have you ever thought about me? You wanted to punish your mother. But, oh Prince, I am punished too." And she walked past him to hug her sister Sita. All four of them, Sita, Urmila, who was sleeping, Mandavi, and Sutakirti, had a choice. They chose to stand behind, actually stand with their husbands in happiness and despair. It's just that some battles, some stories remain unheard and untold, just like Mandavi's. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I so appreciate your calm, conversational tone.
Thank you.
When
Actually,
go ahead.
yeah. Actually, I wanted to tell you that I had attended one of these Mondays adult sessions at CSF when I heard the story narrated by Lavanya about Lakshmana and Urmila. That is when actually I had thought about the other two princesses, Mandavi and Shrutakirti. And I actually wanted to find out, because there's nothing written about them. There's no story available. That is when I started finding out about them. And it is, I don't know what to call this. I was waiting for an opportunity to tell that story. And it's so nice that I chose the story, or the, like everybody says, that story chose me to, and it's happening at your session today. Is I'm really feeling very nice because this started on that day when I heard Lavanya's story. Yeah.
I have never heard Mandavi's story. I don't know Ramayana so well. And it was a pleasure to hear it and to hear you bring her forward as this character. I have a curiosity. Yeah. For you personally, as a storyteller, how is it different when you need to tell Ramayana in English? How does that feel different?
It is actually very nice if we tell it in our mother tongue, but now we have started telling Ramayana, and I think the whole world now knows Ramayana and Mahabharata, and we have actually blended it in such a way that we can tell it in English, and our emotions are coming out very well in English too now. So
no, I mean, not so much how well you tell it in English, which you do very well, but how it feels different to you in your connection to the story. Does it feel different?
It does. It obviously does. When you tell it in your mother tongue or in Hindi, it is like telling your story. It's like Ramayana and Mahabharata are something which we are, like, every child knows in India. It's not a story which you learn. It is something which it's just understood that everybody knows these stories. And they're not consciously told. It's just like every day on bedtime or passing by, or if you go to a temple, or everything is related. And then these stories are just there everywhere, and everybody knows these stories. So if it comes in our language or in Hindi, it is really close to our heart, and it does make a difference, but a very minute one, I would say.
Well, what is your mother tongue?
I speak Telugu. Telugu.
Yes. And when you tell in Telugu, do you tell with the same calm, gentle tone like you're telling now? Because so many storytellers think they have to tell fast and amaze people with their verbal virtuosity. But I so enjoy it when a storyteller takes her time and tells in such a calm way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that is how I tell stories. Sometimes people say that even if a story needs to be told with a lot of high energy, I still tell it in a calm way. So that is a feedback I always get. But yeah, I think this is my style. I tell it in a very calm way. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for this platform, Eric. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see in the chat section, somebody has written that the calm and composed, that is your signature style. Excellent. It's so good because when one tells in that calm way, it really gives the opportunity to get into the different characters and move and speak and feel as the different characters, which you do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who listened to my story. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.